Okay, so in this particular lecture, we're going to talk about normal subgroups and factor groups. So this lecture will be solely on normal subgroups. In the next lecture, we will be talking about factor groups. Okay. So basically, what are normal subgroups? So we know about cosets, right? We know about cosets. That is, if you have some H, okay, which is a subgroup of G, then for all G belongs to the group G, the elements of G multiplied with H represents the left cosets of H in G, and this represents the right cosets of H in G. Clear? Now, if the left cosets and the right cosets are identical, then we can say that G inverse equals to G for all small g belongs to the group capital G. Clear? Now a subgroup H which satisfied this particular condition, that is, G, this element will always belong to G for all G belongs to capital G, and H will belongs to the subgroup capital H. So if this condition or this condition, these two conditions are actually equivalent. So if these two conditions are satisfied by a subgroup H in G, then H is said to be a normal subgroup of capital G. Clear? Of capital G. Got it? Clear? So from here we can actually write down a direct conclusion, that is, if G is an abelian group, if G is an abelian group, then every subgroup of G will be normal. The reason behind that is, if G is abelian, then GH will always equal HG. The reason is that, for some element belonging to H, the element actually must belong to the group capital G, right? And if X belongs to capital G, then X will commute with small g, that is the element of G which is arbitrarily chosen. So that's why this condition will always be satisfied if G is an abelian. Got it? Clear? Okay. So let us understand an example. That is, uh, let us take this as an example. Wait a minute. So let us understand some theorems regarding normal subgroups. Okay. So theorems regarding normal subgroups. Theorems regarding normal subgroups. Some theorems regarding normal subgroups are: the first one, if G is a group and H is a subgroup of G, then the following statements are equivalent. Then the following statements are equivalent. And what are those statements? The first statement is that the subgroup N is normal in G, this statement will be equivalent to, for all small g belonging to capital G, G n G inverse, this set is a subset of capital N. And number 3, for all small g belonging to capital G, G n G inverse equals N. Clear? So all these three statements will be equivalent to each other. The reason being, see, suppose if N is normal in G, let me make you understand this concept a little bit. Okay, so one second. So, so if N is normal in G, in the sense N is a normal subgroup of capital G. So if N is a normal subgroup capital G, so as you know, told in the previous part of this particular lecture, that for N to be a normal subgroup of capital G, G N G sorry let us understand the closest form. So Gn will be equals to Ng. That, what does that imply? So that basically implies that Gng inverse equals to N. So this is directly your third statement. And for G and G inverse to be equal to N, so its subset property must also be satisfied, right? If this is not true, then the equality case will also not be true. So these two statements are actually direct conclusions from the first statement. I guess this much is clear. Now, how to prove the second statement and the first? That is the main thing. Okay. So basically, we can do it in this way, that you can understand it in this way, that if you have small n belongings to capital N. Achha, have I told it with respect to H? Oh, I'm very sorry. This is a sorry, sorry. So this is not N. This all will be H. My bad. So these will be H. Clear? Sorry. So basically, you can understand in this manner, that if you have some small h equals to capital H, if small h equals to capital H, so for the left cosets to be identical with the right cosets, you need to have that GH is equals to H, right? So that implies that GH G inverse must be equals to H. Now, since H belongs to capital H, so GH G inverse must also belong to capital H. Now, what is H? H are the elements of H. So basically, GH G inverse is actually an kind of an element which belongs to the set G capital H G inverse, because H is the set to which small h element belongs. So from here we can directly say that the set G capital H inverse is basically a subset of capital H. This portion is clear. So this is what I had written in the second step. Clear? This is what I had written in the second step. Now to prove the inverse statement, that is, from here we actually, to show the equality of these two sets, we need to prove that your H will also be a subset of GH G inverse. Got it? Your H will also be a subset for GH G inverse. This is what we actually need to show. Got it? Wait a minute, let me drink some water. Okay. So now what happens is that, see, you have GH G inverse belong to H. So from here you can write that. So H is basically a subset of. So this G becomes inverse and comes here. So G inverse H G. Clear? This thing you can write. Pretty easily understandable. This thing you can easily write. Now, so basically this particular element G inverse Hg, this particular element, this must be equal to, this must be equal to some value n dash. Okay, for some n dash belongs to, sorry, must be equal to small h, for this small h belongs to the subset capital H. I guess this portion is clear. Basically, if H belongs to G inverse Hg, what I mean to say is that, see, if GHG, sorry, G inverse Hg equals to some element, say small h. Okay, and let me replace this capital H with some other element H dash, let's say. So from here, what we can say? So from here, we actually can say that H dash G is equal to GH. This is what we can say. Okay. Now, from here, what we can conclude is that your H dash is actually equal to GHG inverse. Okay, your H dash actually belongs to, actually equals to GHG inverse. Okay, which is same as that particular element which we require to show that H is a subset of GHG inverse. Now see, since from this statement we directly evolve to this statement, and since this is true for H dash being an element of capital H, and H, small h, simple small h, that is this small h, is also an element of capital H. So basically we can change this statement by considering small h to be H dash here to GHG inverse, where H belongs to capital H. Are you getting my point? So basically this statement is true when we consider that H dash belongs to H. But when we consider H belongs to capital H, so from this particular statement we can actually evolve to show that this is true. So from here we can directly show that this one is true, that when H, small h is said to be an element of capital H, then this condition is also true, which is directly and direct implication from this particular thing. So basically what we get is that, H is a subset of G inverse H G, implies that H is also a subset of G H G inverse, and C. So basically, so G H G inverse is a subset. Sorry, not belongs to, is a subset. So it's a subset of capital H, and H is also a subset of G H G inverse. So these two statements implies that H equals to G H G inverse. That is, H is normal in G. Clear? So let this lecture be up to this much, guys. In the next lecture, we will be talking about factor groups and some more important topics. So thank you, guys.